Part 14, Chapter 34. Back aboard the Dolomite, Badger and Glint passed through the airlock and removed their suits. Glint started walking towards the elevator that led to the ship's command territory. He stopped when he saw that Badger was not following him. "What's up, Red? Aren't we going to give this to the captain?" "Of course we are," Badger said. "But not just yet." He led the way down a passageway to a door marked Workshop D, Authorized Personnel Only. Glint followed him. "What are you doing?" Glint asked. "You going to fix that gizmo?" Badger stopped and looked scornful. "You really are some kind of a moron. No, I'm not going to fix the gizmo. Why do you think I volunteered us for this job?" "I was wondering about that," Glint said. "I want to get a look at what's on this flight recorder before I give it to the captain. Fat chance Hoban would ever tell us." Glint looked admiringly at his partner, then hurried to catch up as Badger pressed the stud that operated the door to Workshop D. Chapter 35. The lander was too small to have separate staterooms. There was a cubbyhole in the rear with a deceleration couch that pulled down from the wall. Stan had lain down there. When Julie came in, he was asleep, his glasses still on, his round face momentarily untroubled. Julie bent down to shake him, then hesitated. Stan looked so peaceful there. His large face was calm and quite handsome. She noticed what long eyelashes he had and what delicate skin, fine-pored like a young boy's. The most recent ingestion of Xenozip had taken Stan's spirit far away, into the limitless perspectives that were the psychic environment of the drug. He was traveling through a place of pure light and color, and he smiled at the friendly shapes around him. Julie stared at him, almost in awe. She knew that Stan was moving down the visionary trail in some impossible dream time, walking down a hall of memory filled with all the images of everything that had ever been or ever would be. And these images were melting like wax in the warmth of the soul's embrace. Stan was a sorcerer, forcing time itself to stand still and to be accountable to the moment. He had found eternity in an instant, and he was balancing it on a needle point. He was in his own time now, a time that had no duration and no limit. He was in a place that she could never get to. But she wondered. Out here, in the world of solid objects and fiery forces, how much time did he have left? How much time was at Julie's disposal, for that matter? Could Stan see their timelines in that strange place where he was? "Stan," she whispered to him. "What are you dreaming about? Am I in the dream with you? Are we happy?" Stan mumbled something, but she couldn't catch the words. She reached out and touched him on the shoulder. His eyes snapped open as if he had been waiting for this signal. She watched his face tense as pain returned to his consciousness. Then he had himself under control and said, "Julie, what is it?" "Captain Hoban wants to speak to you again. He's pulled a flight recorder from that wreck." "Okay, Fine. Stan sat up, then got somewhat unsteadily to his feet. Julie's slender, hard arm was around him, supporting him. Her warm, fragrant hair was at his shoulder, and he breathed her fragrance gratefully. Thanks, he said. Hey, don't mention it. We're a team, aren't we? He looked at her. Her eyes were enormous, brilliant, with dark pools at the center. He felt himself melting into them. A wave of emotion came over him. Julie? Yes, Stan. What is it? If you're doing this for my sake, please, don't stop. Chapter 36. The voices on the flight recorder were very clear. What ship is that? This is the Valparaiso Queen, Captain Kuhn commanding, 37 days out of Santiago de Chile. To whom am I speaking? This is Potter of the biofarm ship Lancet. Do you realize you are trespassing? I think you exaggerate, Captain. There's no trace of your claim in the recent issues of Star Swap. We haven't chosen to go public with it just yet, but there are electronic warnings posted at the beginning of the quadrant. Surely you intercepted those warnings. Oh, those? Captain Kuhn laughed. An electronic warning hardly constitutes a legal claim. No, Captain Potter. Unless you publish your intent with the Federal Department of Interplanetary Claims, it can't be said to exist. I have as much right here as you. Potter's voice was low and hoarse with menace. Captain Kuhn, I am a man of little patience. You have already used up my entire store. You have about 1 second to go into retrofire and get your ship out of there. Kuhn replied, I do not take kindly to preemptory orders, Captain, especially from one who has no legal right to give them. I will leave this vicinity in my own time when I'm good and ready. And you may be sure I will file a complaint with Interbureau over your attitude. You will have more to complain about than an attitude, Captain Kuhn. But I doubt you will ever file that report. Do not try to intimidate me. The time for words is past. The torpedo that puts paid to your pretensions is now coming towards you at a speed well below that of light, but fast enough, I think you'll find. Torpedo? How dare you, sir? Number 2, full power to the screens. Take evasive action. And then Badger had to turn down the volume as the recorded sound of the explosion shook the walls of Workshop D.